So today, guys, I wrote a really special episode. I wanted to talk about Pokemon investing, but I wanted to angle it based on what's going on in the actual world and take that into consideration in the overall tone of today's episode. Also, guys, stick around to the end of the episode for today's pro tip of the day. Number one, guys, do not invest based off of emotion.
Your profit on a mere $6,000 investment would be upwards of $60,000.
Jesus, that's my mortgage, man.
Exactly, you could pay off your mortgage.
So in my opinion, guys, investing based off of emotion, greed, or fear of missing out is the main catalyst for people buying at absolute highs and then selling at market lows. Have a plan. We talk about that a lot, and don't buy into hype bubbles. A perfect example, guys, is like when a set first comes out. Like you're seeing it right now with Japanese. There's a card that's selling for $1,200 or something like that. Don't be naive. Even the Pokemon company in Japan, they know, and they are cashing in on our hype factor over here, so they know that. Okay, their booster boxes most times will retail for $39.99. You can't get a Japanese box right now for less than $110. So keep that in mind. V-Star Universe is coming down a little bit, but people just, like, even with V-Star, people don't know what the true MSRP retail price is. It's $40. So just keep that in mind. And I'm not trying to say that V-Star Universe isn't a buy at $80, $90, or whatever you can buy it for if you buy in bulk. I'm just saying, try to understand where the set retails, and then you can make an educated decision. As far as the cards go, we've talked about that. Never buy a card within the first, I'm going to say even freaking 6 weeks of the set being out. There's cards that are selling for 1,000x of what they will be. Like this new card, I looked at it. I don't know. It could be an $80 card in 8 weeks. I want to see what that is. If it's still a $1,200 card in 8 weeks, then hey, eggs on my face. I highly doubt it. I would bet a lot of money against it, actually. Almost every card tanks in 1 to 2 months after release, even sooner sometimes. It's been happening way faster than we've seen in the past. So just a little side note, guys, buy into sets or things that you want to invest in based off of factual evidence. One way that we do that here on this channel is look at the singles prices. We look at them all the time, right? If it has a strong singles market and price per single, we always use $20 as kind of like a benchmark. If there's multiple cards over $20 and it fits all the criteria that we've spoken about in the past here on this channel, then feel confident in buying into the set. It really comes down to facts. As much as possible, you want to not buy based off emotion, but more off factual evidence, if that makes sense. Number two, guys, understand when you're in a volatile market.
Look, the bottom line is this. Americans can rest assured that our banking system is safe.
I don't believe you. What?
So during periods of market volatility, people move to low-risk investments, when in fact it might be a time to actually be bullish in the market if you're truly trying to invest. One clear-cut example is the Charizard Premium Collection box. There's a mental connotation that this is a bad box to have because they printed so many of them and everyone has them, and the promos inside, which are the 3 Charizards, aren't necessarily the most expensive and not coming at a premium in a PSA 10. But just because there's a lot of something doesn't mean that there's not value there. What we did is we deconstructed that box on a previous episode where we say, hey, this is a good buy for these reasons. And the fact of the matter is that it comes with probably the most value pound for pound in contemporary products. And I almost like the fact that there's so many because that actually increases supply, which gives that negative connotation on value, and then you see the price go down where you can actually buy something for less than retail. That's really hard to do with Pokemon. Buying anything for less than retail in Pokemon is usually a recipe for success. So this theory can apply to a lot of different items. There's items right now that have really good value that are being slept on because maybe there's a lot of them or the hype is gone. I think the Marnie box is another good example, but I chose the Charizard UPC because we just deconstructed it on a previous episode, and that's a perfect example where it has negative market connotation, but it has positive EV or expected value, in my opinion, for current and future value, just based off of the cards that are inside and the fact that it revolves around Charizard. So just take that into consideration. Super volatile product, but in my opinion, still really good value. Lastly, guys, we've talked about this multiple times. Time in the market is greater than timing the market.
Man, you gotta give me something.
So I know that's kind of like one of those sayings and we have to unpack it, but really what it comes down to is you never really want to be trying to time the market if you can help it, because that's really hard to do. You just want to pick and choose your spots, take your shot, and then allow that investment to mature, or just give some time between your purchase date and your sell date. That way you're not selling it for the least while buying it for the most, I guess. Staying the course through short-term volatility is usually the main key in long-term success. So I wanted to bring it around to what I said in the beginning of the episode. Right now we're experiencing major volatility in the real world, right? Pokemon is not the real world. Pokemon is a luxury market. Pokemon is the fantasy land that we go to avoid the real world. So I wanted to just touch on that, especially now when times are volatile. Even though this might be a very negative time for many people, and I'm not insensitive to that fact, there's a lot of people that are suffering in the world. It's also sometimes one of the best opportunities to purchase as far as investments go. And that's not just Pokemon, but you know, like I'm seeing some things with Pokemon. Some things are very up and some things are very down. Like I've been very, very bullish on vintage product because I think the shine is off of vintage and it's more on contemporary. And I also think that the economy itself has something to do with that. Sometimes people need to sell product to pay the bills. And again, not being insensitive to that fact, I try to take it as positively as I can when I am buying things and people do come to me with these stories. Maybe I am helping someone pay their bills and I am buying something that I think might have good value later on. So I try to be positive if I can, but that is a real world situation that's going on in our market right now. And really, guys, just making a 180 back to the point that I was making earlier, Pokemon is batting 1,000 when it comes to products that are out of rotation, older. We'll just take a 5-year benchmark. What product can you buy in Pokemon for at or less than retail that fit those two criteria? Out of rotation and over 5 years old. I think it's like 0 things. I mean, one perfect example is if Rebel Clash, okay, which can be considered as one of the worst sets or the worst set in Sword and Shield, if that booster box is selling for $225 right now, anything is possible. I said the same thing about Steam Siege back in the day. So it's obscene. It's ridiculous. So I just wanted to wrap up with this point, guys. One main bit of advice that I've always lived by and that I don't let rock the boat for me is not trying to time the market. Obviously, there's great times to sell and the writing's on the wall. If you have these products, sell them, right? Or whatever. Like a good example of that is Evolving Skies. If you bought a bunch of Evolving Skies at $90, $100, and it's selling for $330, obviously it's a good time to sell. But then people get stuck in their mind and they get that, that feeling creeps in. What if Evolving Skies goes to 1,000? Well, what if it does? At some point, you have to realize your equity in certain items and just maneuver into different items. It happens all the time. I've been doing it for years. And if you always look back and think what could have been, you'll just be a more miserable human being because you'll always be thinking about that. Don't do that to yourself. Don't torture yourself by looking back and thinking what could have been. Take your shots. If it's a good time to sell, it's a good time to sell. If it's a good time to buy, then pick something up. That's it. All right, guys. Pro tip of the day. Hear me out. After everything that we just spoke about, okay, and you've positioned yourself correctly, you're okay with your normal finances in the real world, you have money to spend with Pokemon, we've talked about everything factual, right? There is also a space for buying what you love. This is an unpopular opinion as far as pure investors go. They don't like the words buy what you like. They always want to hear buy what's going to make me money. I feel that. But I also am a human being, and that's what makes us amazing. I'm a huge fan of buying what I like because, like in my particular circumstance, I have the ability to open it up on camera for you guys. But also, I used to do that when there wasn't a YouTube channel. I like buying what I like because if it goes to 0, at least I'll have fun opening it up, you know what I mean? All right, guys, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you're doing well in your personal lives. Keep your heads up, chins up. I know the world is a crazy place, but I'm going to be here for you through the whole thing if you'll have me. All right, I'll see you guys on the next live or the next episode. Peace.
Yeah, I'm talking to you. It's time to hit the button already. Do it now. What do you think, I'm dancing for free here?